This is VFL Weekly Wrap for round 15. Now I'll go through the results. Now the Queensland Derby up at Ipswich saw Southport return to the winners list. They beat Brisbane by 30 points. Impressive result this. 19-13, 127 to 14-13, 97. Southport had 416 possessions, 30 more hit-outs. Brisbane had 22 more clearances. Now for the Sharks, Jacob Dawson, 36 possessions, 13 clearances. Jesse Joyce, 33 possessions, 11 marks. Now, there's a game at the Hangar. Now this match, less than 2 days out, got moved from Windy Hill to the Hangar. Not sure why. But anyway, Gold Coast defeated Essendon by 14 points at the Hangar. 14-16, 100 to 13-8, 86. For Essendon, Elias Sardis, 35 possessions, 14 clearances. Well, Essendon just can't win a game at the moment. Windy Hill or the Hangar doesn't make a difference. Now the game at Northport Oval saw Williamstown beat Port Melbourne by 17 points. 14-5-89 to 11-6-72. Port Melbourne had 22 more hit-outs, 18 more inside 50s, but Williamstown took 52 more marks. Broden McLaughlin, again the difference maker, 5 goals, 8 marks. These two teams are met 261 times. Port Melbourne still lead head-to-head, 138 to 115. With 8 draws. Willie, they've won 8 in a row. Port Melbourne, it's another loss at home. But that's the first time they've kicked more goals than points at home. Now, the match at Blacktown saw an upset. The Northern Bull Ants. The witch is dead. Can you believe it? They have won a game. And they beat Sydney by 7 points up there. 11-7-73 to 8-18-66. Sydney kicked 11 behind in the second half. And Sydney, 8 of those points that they scored were rushed. Peter Laddams for Sydney, 26 possessions, 26 hit-outs, 11 clearances. Bull Ants superstar Jean-Luc Valsaris, 24 possessions and 3 goals. Sydney were 31 points ahead, and that's when they didn't kick another goal. They just stopped to a walk there. The Bull Ants 21 game losing streak is over, and they've actually got Sydney head to head 3-1. Amazing, great effort. I watched this game on TV, Princes Park. Carlton beat Collingwood in a thriller by 4 points, 12-11-83 to 11-13-79. This game just ebbed and flowed. The lead kept changing, and Carlton kept their finals hopes alive. A bad loss for Collingwood. Their top 4 chances have taken a dive. Carlton have won 4 of their last 5 games. Collingwood have lost 3 games by single digits. Now, the game at Cardinia Park saw Richmond get Geelong by 5 points. 14-4-88 to 12-11-83. Geelong dominated this game. They led by 37 points in the second quarter. They were all over Richmond. They even had the free kick count, 32-16. For Geelong, Ted Closey, 34 possessions, 10 tackles. For Richmond, Jaden Short, 27 possessions, 14 marks. Now, Geelong player took a mark in a goal square when they were 1 point up in time on, and for some stupid reason tried to play on and ran into the post. And then Richmond went up and kicked the winning goal with probably in the final minute. Remarkable. It was a collapse of major proportions for the Cats. And their finals chances are gone now. They really should have won that game. Richmond have won 9 games this year. 6 of those games have been by under 3 goals. So they know how to win the close one. Amazing. The game's on Sunday as well. Now, Box Hill, far too good for Sandringham at Box Hill City Oval, winning by 44 points. 14-16-100 to 8-8-56. Now the scores were level 7 minutes into the last quarter, but then Box Hill kicked 7 goals to the zilch. Just showing why they're the top team. Sandringham dominated the hitouts 53-11. Box Hill have won the last 13 games against Sandy. A miserable season for Sandy, just keeps getting worse. A thriller. I watched this on a live stream. This was at Casey Fields. Coburg got Casey. 3 points. 11-8-74, 9-17-71. Casey just dominated this game. They were 27 points up during the third quarter. They missed so many opportunities. They just dominated. But they didn't put them away. Coburg kicked 2 goals at the death to pinch the game. Coburg were only 2 goals in the first half, and they kicked 9 in the second half. Casey dominated the hitouts 51-15. Casey were in front for the first 115 minutes of the game. Coburg in front for the last 6 when it mattered. Remarkable win for Coburg. They are back in the top 10. They really needed to win that. I went to 2 games. One of them was Friday afternoon. This was at the Whitten Oval between Footscray and North Melbourne. A very competitive game, a good game of footy. Footscray just too good for North Melbourne in the end. 16-point winners, 13-9-87 to 10-11-71. North Melbourne kicked 3-3 to 2-1 in the first quarter. This is where Footscray won the game. In the second quarter, 6-4 to 1 point. Third quarter, excellent quarter for North. 5 goals, 6 to 1-1. Last quarter, Footscray 4-3 to 2-1. Now for no one kicked 3 goals in this game. 3 plays for Footscray kicked 2 goals. Will Lewis, Booker Karmas, David Cunningham. And for North Melbourne, Geordie Payne and Zach Banch each kicked 2. The possessions for Footscray, Anthony Scott, 36 possessions, 10 clearances and a goal. For the Kangaroos, Ollie Lowe, 27 possessions and a goal. Geordie Payne, 2 goals, laid 17 tackles. Not bad. The wind was blowing towards the train station end. It was, I reckon, worth 2 goals maybe. Now, North kicked the first 3 goals of the game, but the Dogs kicked the next 8, and that was the difference. But then North kicked 5 after that, but they were too far behind. Very competitive game, as I said. Good crowd as well. Bit chilly. Well, the first half was in daylight, and the second half was under lights. Very good ground, the Whitten Oval. Excellent ground. It was a good game of footy. North Melbourne have lost 3 of the last 4 now. They're in trouble. They're slipping. Dogs, they're flying. They're in second. A good game. I went to a game on Saturday at Chertside Park between GWS and Werribee. And GWS were far too strong for Werribee, winning by 19 points. 11-12-78 to 8-11-59. Werribee 1 goal 5 to 1-3 at quarter time. GWS 2 goals 2 to 1-2 in the second. GWS 4-2 to 3-2 in the third. And GWS 4 goals 5 to 3-2 in the last. Again, no one kicked more than 2 goals here. GWS had 4 players. They kicked 2 each. Jacob Wee, Louis Montgomery, Lachlan Keefe and Phoenix Gothard. Harry Grintle kicked 2 for the Bees. The possessions, Jacob Wee for GWS, 27 possessions, 9 tackles, 8 clearances, 2 goals. Steve Cornelio back in action, 25 possessions, 6 tackles. Nick Madden in a ruck, 23 possessions, 42 hit-outs, 7 tackles, 9 clearances. And Toby McMullen, 13 tackles, 6 clearances and a goal. For Werribee, Dom Brew, 32 possessions, 11 tackles, 7 clearances. Louis Pinnock, 31 possessions, 13 marks, back in the team. He was off with injury. And Sam Conway in the ruck, 51 hitouts. GWS had 18 more inside 50s. Werribee took 33 more marks. GWS laid 98 tackles. Head-to-head is 2-2 now. GWS have beaten Werribee in consecutive years now at Chirnside. The wind was blown towards the swimming pool end. Werribee, they didn't kick straight in that first quarter. And it just felt that GWS always had their measure. They were bigger, they were stronger, they were more skillful, they were more determined. But when you're a team like Werribee that loses so many players, there's only so much you can do. Again, just negative football, chipping sideways, not going to get them anywhere. Not good for Werribee. GWS were far too good for them, and they probably could have won by more. Mate, they're no mugs, this team, GWS. They have won games at Casey, at Geelong, and at Werribee this year. So they're no mugs. Werribee, their season gets from bad to worse. They have lost their last 4 games. They haven't won since the 1st of June. Werribee are 2-5 at home. They've lost their last 4 at home. Now Werribee, 7 of their 8 losses have been decided by under 4 goals. They just can't win. GWS, kudos to them. They deserve to win. But Werribee, their season's done now. Alright, now, quickly go through the goal kickers. Brody McLaughlin, 47. Mitch Pajaski, 41. Lee McMahon, 40. Hugh Dixon, 36. Forget the rest. The ladder, Box Hill Game Clear, 44 points. Footscray, 40. The Sharks are 38. GWS, Williamstown, Richmond, all 36 in the top 6. Rounding out the other 4 teams. Brisbane, Collingwood are 32. North Melbourne, 30. And Coburg are in there. They're 28. Just outside of percentage, Carlton, 28. Frankston, 28. Casey, 26. The rest of the teams, forget about it. They're gone. Werribee, Geelong, Port Melbourne, they can't make it. They've been poor this year. Now to round 16 games, there are 9 games. 3 teams have the bye. Coburg, Footscray, North Melbourne. Very strange. There's 3 Friday games. This is a ridiculous start time. Carlton, Brisbane at Princes Park at 12 o'clock. Why they don't start at 5 or 6, I'll never know. But anyway, the Suns play Collingwood at 3:30 in the afternoon up there. Well, that's obviously before the AFL game. Interesting game this. Friday night, Frankston, Port Melbourne. Can Frankston get back in the top 10? Or will Port Melbourne upset them? There's 4 games on Saturday. Richmond are playing Southport. That's at Frankston. I can't understand why they're playing at Frankston. I know they haven't got home ground, but they could. Why they didn't ask Collingwood to use Victoria Park or something, or use another ground like Sandringham's ground? Do something. Why playing Frankston? Anyway, GWS, they're playing Geelong. Box Hill playing Essendon. The game I'm going to, the TV game, at the Whitten Oval at 7:10 on Saturday night. Werribee Casey. Werribee can't make finals. Can they finish off Casey once and for all? They sold that home game, Werribee, so it's actually good they're not playing at home because they'll get done if they play there. 2 games on Sunday. I might go to this. Sandringham Sydney at the Beach Oval 11 o'clock. Now the Bull Ants are playing Williamstown at 2 o'clock. I tell you, it's make or break now. It really is make or break this season. We're going to know a lot more in round 16. Hope it's another good one. See you later.